A millionaire dismissed a delivery girl until he realized she was a hidden legal prodigy. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The automatic doors of Hawthorne Tower slid open with a sharp hiss, letting in a rush of cold morning air as a young delivery girl hurried inside, clutching a brown insulated bag against her chest. Her sneakers were still wet from the rain, and her breath fogged in the heated lobby as she tried to catch it. She looked out of place among marble floors, mirrored walls, and suits that smelled like wealth and ambition. Her name was Lily, 24, exhausted, and behind those tired eyes was a mind sharper than most lawyers on the 32nd floor. But no one here knew that. Delivery pickups are not allowed in the main lobby, the security guard barked, blocking her path with one hand. Use the service entrance next time. Lily bowed slightly, apologizing even though she had done nothing wrong. I am sorry, sir. The service elevator was out of order, and the client said this was urgent. Before the guard could snap again, a tall man in a charcoal suit strode across the lobby, flanked by two assistants. Confident, impeccably dressed, eyes like cold steel. This was Ethan Hawthorne, the millionaire CEO who built half the city's skyline with contracts and precision. He barely glanced at Lily before lowering his voice to the guard. If she is blocking the entrance, move her along. We have a meeting in 3 minutes. He turned away without waiting for a response. Lily stepped aside, hugging her delivery bag tighter, pretending the sting did not reach her. She had been spoken to like that many times in the past year. People saw the uniform, not the person. But today, fate placed her and Ethan in each other's path for a reason neither could see yet. A sudden commotion broke the lobby's polished silence. A client stormed out of the elevator with a thick stack of documents, shouting into his phone. I told you the contract is invalid. Your team wrote it wrong. I am filing a lawsuit today. The words echoed through the lobby, bouncing between marble columns. Ethan froze mid-stride. His assistants looked panicked. Lily instinctively stepped back, but her eyes flicked toward the top page of the contract as the client slammed it onto the counter, ranting. Even upside down, she recognized the formatting style. She knew the statute number that contract referenced. She knew the mistake that client believed he had found, and she also knew he was wrong. Her mind began assembling the pieces on instinct, the way it used to back when she still dreamed of becoming an attorney. The client jabbed a finger at Ethan. Your legal team is incompetent. You will lose millions in damages. Ethan's jaw clenched, but he kept his voice level. Sir, if there is an issue, we will review it immediately. There is an issue, the client snapped. It violates Clause 18B of the Commercial Protections Act. My lawyer confirmed it. Lily's heart skipped. Clause 18B. People misunderstood that one all the time. Her voice slipped out before she even realized she had spoken. Excuse me, but that clause only applies if delivery terms involve interstate distribution. Your contract states within state boundaries. The statute does not apply here. The entire lobby turned toward her. Ethan stared like he had just heard a bird speak fluent Latin. The angry client blinked. What did you just say? Lily swallowed, suddenly aware of every eye on her. The clause you mentioned does not invalidate the contract. Your lawyer likely misread the exemption paragraph. If you look at page 6, section 3, line 12. The client flipped the document. His face changed. The anger drained away, replaced by confusion. Ethan stepped closer, studying Lily with sudden, unsettling attention, as if seeing her for the first time. The client muttered something under his breath, shoved the papers into his briefcase, and stormed out without another word. Silence returned. Lily lowered her gaze, prepared for the guard to scold her again. Instead, Ethan spoke. His tone was not cold this time. It was curious, calculated, almost impressed. How, he asked slowly, did you know that? Lily forced a small smile. I just read a lot, sir. But Ethan Hawthorne had built an empire by recognizing talent in raw form. And there was something in Lily's eyes, clarity, precision, discipline, that he could not ignore. For the first time in his life, the millionaire who dismissed her at the door began to question his own judgment. And this moment was only the beginning. Ethan did not move for several seconds after the client left. The lobby returned to its smooth, polished silence, but something inside him did not. His assistants exchanged confused glances, waiting for orders, but Ethan's attention was fixed on Lily, the girl still standing quietly with her delivery bag pressed against her chest. "Do you work with legal documents often?" he asked, stepping closer. His tone was calm, but there was a sharpness beneath it, the kind he used in high-stakes negotiations. Lily shook her head. "No, sir, I just deliver food." "That was not guesswork," Ethan replied. "You quoted statute language with confidence. Where did you learn that?" Lily hesitated, the way people do when the truth feels too heavy to hand to a stranger. "I studied law," she said softly. "For a while. I had to stop and life moved in a different direction." The security guard interrupted, still annoyed. "Sir, she was not supposed to be in the main lobby in the first place." Ethan raised one hand, silencing him without looking away from Lily. "What is your name?" "Lily Carter." He repeated it, testing the sound. "Lily Carter, I want you to come upstairs." Her eyes widened. "Sir, I still have deliveries to finish, and I do not work for your company." "This will take 5 minutes," Ethan replied. "I would like you to look at something." Lily's grip tightened on her delivery bag. "I am really not supposed to leave the food. If the customer complains, I will compensate them," Ethan said simply. "Triple." His assistant stared. That was not the kind of sentence their CEO used lightly. Lily's instinct told her to refuse. People like him lived in a world she did not belong to. But another instinct, the one she had tried to bury for a year, whispered louder. "You missed this. You missed the law." She followed him into the private elevator. The doors closed with a soft metallic thud, sealing them inside. The ride was quiet. Ethan watched the digital floors blink upward, while Lily watched her reflection in the brushed steel walls, wondering why she felt like she was walking back into a life she had locked behind her. The elevator opened onto the 32nd floor, a space filled with glass offices and conference rooms overlooking the city. Ethan led her to a long table covered with legal drafts, red-lined pages, and folders marked urgent. He picked up a contract and set it in front of her. "This is the document that client was threatening to litigate. My legal team reviewed it 3 times. You corrected the issue in less than 1 minute in the lobby. I want to see what you see." Lily stared at the papers. For a moment she felt the weight of who she used to be. She remembered nights spent memorizing case law, mornings in libraries, dreams she had convinced herself were no longer hers. Slowly, she took a seat. Her fingers traced the margin notes as she began reading, her mind switching into a rhythm she thought she had forgotten. Ethan watched her closely, recognizing the subtle shift in posture, the silent confidence of someone who understood complexity without fear. After several moments, Lily looked up. "Your team used a template for this clause that is outdated. The language changed last year. If a lawyer pushes hard enough, they could force arbitration." Ethan's eyebrows lifted. "How did you catch that so quickly?" "Because I used to study changes like this every week," she answered quietly. There was no arrogance in her voice, just truth. And Ethan Hawthorne, a man who had dismissed her without a second thought in the lobby, realized he was sitting across from a mind far more valuable than most of the people he hired. For the first time that morning, he smiled. It was small, rare, and real. "Lily Carter," he said, "I believe you and I have more to talk about." Lily shifted back in her chair as Ethan's words settled between them. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long gold lines across the conference table. Her delivery bag rested at her feet, slowly losing heat, but she was too overwhelmed to care. "I appreciate the compliment, sir," Lily said carefully, "but I really should get back to work. I cannot stay here." Ethan studied her face for a long moment, noticing the discomfort beneath her calm tone. "You seem uneasy," he said. "Did I cross a boundary?" Lily shook her head. "No, sir. It is just, people like me do not usually sit in rooms like this." "People with talent do," Ethan replied, "and you have it." The words hit her harder than she expected. She had tried to bury that part of her life for a year, but hearing validation from someone like him, unexpected, unfiltered, and sincere, made something inside her shift. An assistant appeared at the doorway. "Sir, your meeting with the internal legal team starts in 10 minutes. Ethan nodded but did not break eye contact with Lily. "Bring the team here instead, and prepare a second copy of the arbitration file." He paused. "For her." The assistant blinked, confused, but obeyed. Lily's eyes widened. "Sir, I am not joining your meeting. I am only a delivery worker." Ethan folded his arms. "You were the only person this morning who understood the contract issue. That makes you more valuable to this meeting than half the people on my payroll." Lily stood slowly. "I really should not. They will wonder who I am." "They will wonder," Ethan said, "why a delivery girl understands the law better than they do." Before she could protest again, the legal team filed into the room, a group of attorneys in dark suits carrying tablets and notebooks. They froze slightly when they saw Lily at the table, but Ethan did not offer an explanation. He simply gestured for them to sit. He placed the contract in the center of the table. "We are revisiting the arbitration risk in Clause 32. Miss Carter pointed out something that concerns me." One of the senior attorneys frowned. "Sir, with all due respect, we reviewed that issue extensively. There is no risk." Lily opened her mouth, then closed it, unsure whether she should speak. Ethan noticed and gave a small nod, granting her permission. She inhaled slowly. "The template your team used is from the pre-amendment version of the statute. The updated language requires the arbitration waiver to be explicit, not implied. Your version is implied. A judge would side with the plaintiff." The room went silent. The lead attorney skimmed the clause again, his expression tightening. Another attorney checked his digital notes, scrolling rapidly, and then stopped mid-swipe. "She is correct," he admitted. "The amendment went into effect last winter. We did not update our template." Ethan leaned back, watching the realization ripple across the table. Lily stepped back from the center of attention, staring at the floor, unsure whether she had just helped or just embarrassed the team. But Ethan's voice cut through the tension. "Miss Carter has just prevented this company from facing a multi-million-dollar liability." The attorneys exchanged awkward glances. Ethan continued, "And she did it in less than 5 minutes." Lily's cheeks warmed. She felt exposed, out of place, and yet a small part of her, one she had forgotten existed, felt alive. Ethan closed the folder gently. "Meeting adjourned. I have another matter to discuss with Miss Carter." The attorneys filed out reluctantly, still eyeing her with a mix of surprise and discomfort. When the door finally shut, Ethan turned back to her. "Lily," he said quietly, "I do not believe your future belongs in delivery work." She looked up at him, unsure whether what she heard was real. "Tell me," Ethan added, "what kept you from becoming the attorney you were meant to be?" Her breath caught, because that was the one question she had spent a year avoiding. Lily did not answer right away. The question pressed against the air like a weight. She lowered her gaze to the edge of the conference table, tracing a faint scratch in the wood as if searching for the right words. "It was not one thing," she finally whispered. "It was everything at the same time. My mother got sick, my younger brother lost his job, rent went up, tuition kept climbing. I worked nights, then mornings, then both. Eventually, something had to break, and it was my ability to keep studying." Ethan listened without interruption. He had heard countless business pitches, excuses, and stories designed to manipulate him. But this was different. There was no attempt to impress him, no self-praise, no dramatics, just honesty spoken by someone who had carried more weight than she ever should have. "When I withdrew from the program," Lily continued, "they told me I could come back in a year if I had the tuition. But a year passed, and then another. Eventually, I told myself it was unrealistic. I needed to work. I needed to help my family. So I took the first job I could get." "Delivery work," Ethan said quietly. Lily nodded. "It pays the bills. It is not glamorous, but it is honest." For a moment, Ethan studied her as if examining a puzzle he had only seen half of. The girl who stood trembling in the lobby was the same person who had just corrected an entire legal department. That contrast struck him harder than he expected. "Lily," he said, "your situation is not a lack of ability. It is a lack of opportunity. Those are not the same thing." She let out a short breath, half a laugh, half disbelief. "I appreciate that, sir, but you do not know me. You do not know what I have failed at." "I know what I just witnessed," Ethan replied, "and it was not failure." Before she could argue, the elevator chimed again. An assistant hurried in, holding Lily's forgotten delivery bag. "Sir, the customer is on the phone asking where their order is." Lily's eyes widened. "Oh no, I completely forgot. They are going to give me a 1-star rating." Ethan took the phone from the assistant. "This is Hawthorne Tower. Your order was delayed because I asked the delivery worker to assist with an urgent issue. You will receive a full refund and a voucher for any inconvenience." The customer's loud frustration softened immediately. Ethan ended the call, then handed Lily her bag. "I cannot let you get penalized for something I caused," he said. Lily blinked, startled by the unexpected kindness. "Thank you. I really needed that order to go smoothly." "You have carried too many burdens alone," Ethan replied. "Let me shoulder this one." Her breath caught again, the same way it had in the lobby, the same way it did when she first stepped into this office. She did not understand why this man, who had dismissed her so easily at the entrance, now spoke to her as if she mattered. Ethan checked his watch. "I will walk you out." They moved toward the elevator, the city spilling light across the floor as they passed. When the doors closed, the silence between them was quieter than before, no longer strained but cautious and new. When they reached the lobby, Ethan stepped slightly ahead and held the door open for her. Lily hesitated at the threshold, looking back at him. "Sir," she said softly, "you asked why I did not become an attorney. The truth is, I still want to, but wanting does not pay tuition." Ethan felt something shift inside him, subtle but undeniable. "Lily Carter," he said, "leave that part to me." She shook her head quickly. "I cannot accept charity." "This is not charity," Ethan replied. "This is investment, and I do not invest in things I do not believe in." For the first time, she held his gaze without fear. "Think about it," he added. "We will talk again." Lily walked into the sunlight, her heart racing, her delivery bag warm against her side. She did not know what would come next, but she knew one thing for certain. For the first time in a very long time, hope followed her out of the building. The next morning, Lily woke before sunrise, her mind still tangled in everything Ethan had said the day before. She moved through her tiny kitchen quietly, so she would not wake her mother in the next room. The apartment was old, the floor creaked, and the heater rattled every few minutes, but it was home. She packed her delivery bag, tying the zipper with a careful knot, the same way she had done hundreds of times. Yet something felt different. It was not the job. It was not the morning. It was the echo of Ethan's voice in the back of her mind. "This is not charity. This is investment." She pushed the thought aside as she left the apartment and began her shift. The cold air stung her cheeks, but it cleared her head. She delivered to office workers, shop owners, and construction sites, each stop pulling her back into the rhythm she knew well. The work grounded her, reminding her of the world she lived in, not the world she had glimpsed on the 32nd floor. Around midday, her phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "This is Lily." A familiar voice replied, steady and composed. "Lily Carter, this is Ethan Hawthorne. I hope I am not interrupting your day." Her hand tightened around her phone. "No, sir. Is everything all right?" "I would like you to come by the building," Ethan said. "There is something I want you to review, and I would like to continue our conversation." Lily felt her pulse quicken. "Sir, I am working right now. I cannot just leave in the middle of my shift." "I understand," Ethan said. "But if you come, I will personally compensate every order you miss." Her breath caught. He had anticipated her concern, and he had solved it before she could protest. Still, she hesitated. "Sir, I do not want to create problems with your staff. Yesterday already caused tension." There was a brief pause on the line. "Lily, you did not create tension. You revealed a blind spot in a team that desperately needed improvement. They will adapt." His tone carried a calm certainty that made it difficult to argue. Lily exhaled slowly. "I can come by in 30 minutes. "I will be waiting," Ethan said. When she arrived at Hawthorne Tower, the security guard from yesterday straightened, his expression noticeably softer than before. "Good afternoon, Miss Carter. You can go right up. Mr. Hawthorne left instructions." His tone carried respect this time. Not fear, not condescension. Respect. Inside the elevator, Lily smoothed her jacket and steadied her breathing. She stepped out onto the 32nd floor to find Ethan standing near the window, reviewing documents. He turned when he heard her. "You came," he said with a small smile. "I said I would," Lily replied, setting her delivery bag down gently. Ethan gestured toward the conference table. A new stack of files lay open. "There is another contract I want you to analyze, a complicated one. If you can identify the issue, I will have my team rewrite the clause." Lily stared at the papers, surprised. "Sir, you really want my opinion?" "I am not asking out of courtesy. I am asking because you see what others miss." She took a seat, her hands steadying as she began reading. This contract was dense, filled with layered language and cross-references, but her mind slipped into focus the way it always had. She flipped through 3 pages before noticing a misalignment in the indemnity clause. "This section contradicts the compliance requirement on page 8, Lily said. "If this goes to court, it will be thrown out." Ethan let out a breath, almost a laugh. "Incredible. You caught it in minutes. My team has been debating it for a week." Lily frowned gently. "Sir, I do not want to make them look bad." "You are not making them look bad," Ethan said. "You are showing them what excellence looks like." She looked up, unsure how to respond. Ethan rested his hands on the table and spoke more softly. "Lily, you walked away from a future because you had no choice, but you do have a choice now, if you want it." Her heart thudded in her chest. "Sir, what exactly are you offering?" "I am offering an opportunity," Ethan said, "to return to the world you belong in, to finish what you started, to use the talent you have been forced to hide." He held her gaze, steady and sincere. "You can keep delivering food if you want. There is no shame in honest work. But if you want more, if you want the future you earned, then let me help you build it." Lily sat completely still, her breath caught somewhere between fear and hope. No one had ever said words like that to her, and for the first time, she began to wonder if the life she had lost was not gone after all, but waiting for her to reach back. Lily remained still for several seconds, absorbing every word. The room felt too quiet, too bright, too full of possibilities she had not allowed herself to imagine in a very long time. She folded her hands together to keep them from trembling. "Sir, I do not know if I can accept something like that," she said. "I am not sure I belong in a place like this anymore." Ethan shook his head gently. "You do not have to decide today, but I want you to understand something clearly. Your circumstances forced you out of your path. Your ability did not." He pulled out a chair across from her and sat down, his tone shifting from professional to something more personal, something steadier. "I grew up watching my father give opportunities to people others ignored," Ethan said. "Workers, immigrants, single mothers, veterans, people who were dismissed because of what they wore or how they spoke. But he always said the same thing: you cannot measure a mind by a uniform." Lily stared at him, her breath softening. She had never heard him speak this way. Ethan continued, "And yesterday, when I looked past your uniform for the first time, I saw someone with potential my company desperately needs." She blinked hard, struggling to hold back emotion. "Sir, I am afraid of hoping for something that will not happen." "That is exactly why I want you to hope," Ethan replied, "because you deserve a life where hope is not a luxury." Before Lily could respond, the door opened and one of the attorneys stepped in, Marcus, a senior associate. He paused when he saw her, but his expression was polite, not dismissive. "Sir, I have the corrected version of the indemnity clause," Marcus said. "I would like your approval." Ethan gestured for him to come forward. Lily shifted aside as Marcus placed the document in front of Ethan. Ethan read a few lines, then slid it toward Lily. "Miss Carter, would you mind reviewing this as well?" Marcus looked surprised but did not object. Lily scanned the revised text, her eyes moving quickly but carefully. After a moment, she nodded. "It is correct," she said. "The language now matches the amended statute." Marcus exhaled, almost relieved. "Thank you," he said quietly. It startled her. She had expected resistance, resentment, anything except gratitude. But the sincerity in his voice was unmistakable. After Marcus left, Lily turned back to Ethan. "Why are they not angry with me? I pointed out mistakes." Professionals are not angry when someone prevents them from failing, Ethan said. They are grateful. It is pride that gets in the way, and pride does not survive long in the face of truth. Lily looked down at her hands, the faintest smile touching her lips. I do not know how to fit into this world again. You learn one step at a time, Ethan said, and you let someone guide you. She lifted her gaze. You mean you? Yes, Ethan answered, if you will allow it. A moment passed between them, quiet but charged with something new, recognition, respect, and the smallest spark of trust. I want to show you something, Ethan said, rising from his chair. He walked to a low shelf and pulled out a thin folder sealed with a gold clip. He returned and placed it gently in front of her. What is this? Lily asked. It is your past, Ethan said softly, and possibly your future. She opened the folder. Inside were printed copies of her old academic transcripts, honors, recommendation letters from professors she had not spoken to in years, and a note from the dean of her former university, confirming she was eligible to return if she could secure tuition. Lily's hands flew to her mouth. She stared at the papers, stunned. How did you get these? She whispered. I made a few phone calls, Ethan replied. I wanted to understand who you were before life forced you to take a different path. She felt tears burning behind her eyes, but she forced them back. Sir, I do not know what to say. You do not have to say anything yet, Ethan said. Just consider what this means. He stood beside her, not towering, not commanding, simply present. You are not starting from nothing, Lily Carter. You are continuing a story that was interrupted. She looked up at him, and for the first time he saw not fear, not uncertainty, but the first flicker of belief, and that was all he needed to see. Lily sat with the folder open in front of her, each page feeling heavier than the last. Her academic transcript, her professor's comments, the dean's note confirming she could still return. It felt unreal, like looking at a version of herself she had buried beneath long work shifts and overdue bills. Ethan waited quietly, giving her space. He did not rush her, did not push, did not fill the silence. He simply stood there, steady and patient, as if he understood that this moment belonged to her, not to him. Finally, Lily closed the folder with trembling hands. Sir, you have done more for me than anyone outside my family ever has, but I do not understand why. You barely know me. Ethan leaned against the table, his expression thoughtful. I know enough. I know what talent looks like. I know what integrity looks like. And I know what it means to have potential that goes unseen. He paused. You did not ask me for help. That is exactly why you deserve it. Lily swallowed hard. I'm just afraid that if I say yes, everything will fall apart again. That is not fear of failure, Ethan said gently. That is fear of hope. She looked up sharply, surprised at how accurately he read her. Before she could respond, another knock sounded at the door. This time it was a junior attorney holding a file. He stepped forward cautiously. Sir, we finished the compliance review on the Westbrook contract, but there is a discrepancy on page 9. We cannot pinpoint it. Ethan raised a brow and motioned for the file. He skimmed the first few sections, then handed it to Lily. Would you take a look? The junior attorney's eyes widened, startled, but he did not protest. Lily opened the file, scanning quickly. Her finger paused at a paragraph halfway down page 9. The problem is here, she said. The indemnification language contradicts the insurance clause. It says the liability falls on the distributor, but the next section assigns liability to the client. You cannot have both. The junior attorney blinked. We missed that. It is easy to miss, Lily said softly. The wording is almost identical in both clauses. That is why it looks correct at first glance. He nodded slowly, absorbing her explanation. Thank you. I will make the correction. When he left, he closed the door more gently than he had opened it. Lily watched him go, stunned by how naturally she had stepped into that role. She had not felt like an outsider for those few minutes. She had felt capable, needed, seen. Ethan noticed the change in her posture, the way her shoulders lifted just slightly. Do you see it now? He asked quietly. This is where you belong. Lily pressed her lips together, her voice unsteady. I want to believe that. I really do. Then let me help you believe, Ethan said. If you return to school, I will sponsor your tuition. I will cover your books, your housing, everything you need. And when you graduate, if you choose, I will offer you a position here. Not out of indebtedness, but because you will have earned it. Her heart pounded in her chest. Sir, that is too much. I cannot let you do all of that. You can, Ethan replied. And more importantly, you deserve for someone to stand behind you for once. She took a breath, then another, trying to steady the swirl of emotions rising inside her. What about my family? She asked. I still have responsibilities. I will not pull you away from them, Ethan said, but you cannot carry everything alone forever. I can assist with transitional support, your mother's medical needs, temporary rent stabilization if required. Not to take control, but to give you room to breathe. Lily's eyes watered, but she did not look away. Why are you willing to invest so much in me? Ethan's voice softened. Because when you spoke in that lobby, and again in this room, I saw a future attorney who will change the lives of people like the person you are right now, and that kind of person is rare. The silence that followed was not heavy anymore. It was warm, full of something she had been starving for, possibility. Lily, Ethan said gently, you do not need to decide today, but I want you to know this. You are standing at the edge of the life you were meant to live. All you need to do is take one step. She looked down at the folder again, her fingertips brushing the embossed seal of her former university. And for the first time, she felt the ground shift beneath her, not from fear, but from the slow, powerful rise of hope. Lily left the conference room with the folder held tightly against her chest. The hallway outside was quiet, lined with glass offices that reflected the late afternoon sunlight. She walked slowly, unsure if her legs were carrying her toward the elevator or simply carrying her away from a life-changing decision she was not ready to face. Ethan followed at a respectful distance, sensing that she needed space, but also knowing she should not walk through this alone. When they reached the lobby, Lily stopped near a row of tall windows overlooking the street below. Cars crawled by, people rushed along the sidewalks, and the world continued as if nothing inside her had just shifted so dramatically. She pressed one hand to the glass. It was cool against her skin. Sir, I do not know how to process all of this, she said quietly. You do not have to, Ethan replied. Not all at once. She turned to him, searching his expression. There was no pressure in his eyes, no expectation, only patience. I feel like I am standing in two lives, Lily said. The life I have now and the life I wanted, and I do not know which one I am supposed to choose. You are not choosing between them, Ethan said. You are choosing a future that honors both. His words were gentle but firm, grounding her. She exhaled slowly, trying to steady the tremble in her breath. Before she could respond, her phone rang. The sound snapped through the heavy silence. She checked the screen and her expression shifted immediately. It is my mother, she said. Ethan nodded. Take it. I will give you a moment. Lily stepped a few feet away and answered the call. Hi, Mom. Is everything all right? There was a pause, then her mother's soft voice filtered through the speaker. Sweetheart, the clinic just called. They moved my appointment to Friday morning. Can you still take me? Lily closed her eyes. The reminder of her real-world responsibilities hit her like a cold wave. Yes, Mom, I will take you. Do not worry. They spoke for another minute, simple things, ordinary things. When she hung up, she stood very still. Ethan approached slowly. Is she all right? Yes, Lily said. She just needs transportation to her appointment. Ethan nodded. Then that will happen, without you having to lose work or sacrifice opportunities. She frowned slightly. You say that as if there is an easy way. There is, Ethan said. Support. Lily looked down, her voice soft. I am not used to someone helping me. I am used to adjusting my life around everyone else's needs. That is what people do when they carry everything alone for too long, Ethan said. But you do not have to do that anymore. She hesitated. Sir, why does it matter so much to you that I succeed? Ethan stepped closer, but not too close. Just enough so she could see the sincerity in his face. Because I know what wasted potential looks like. I've seen people who deserved more get overlooked because others failed to recognize their worth. I refuse to be one of those people when the truth is right in front of me." Lily held his gaze, and for the first time she did not look away. "Let me help," Ethan said softly. "Not because you owe me, not because I want something in return, but because you deserve the chance to choose your own future." Lily felt her throat tighten. "I want that. I really do. But I'm afraid." "Hope is always frightening at first," Ethan said, "especially when you have gone without it." She blinked hard, steadying herself. "If I say yes, everything changes." "Yes," Ethan replied, "in the best possible way." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The lobby, the city, the noise outside, it all faded into a soft hum around them. Finally, Lily drew a deep breath. "I need time to think." "Take all the time you need," Ethan said. "But before you decide, there is something else you should know." She looked at him, uncertain. "What is it?" Ethan's expression shifted, still calm, still composed, but carrying something deeper. "I believe in you, Lily," he said, "and I am not going anywhere." The words landed gently but powerfully, like a promise she had never expected to hear, and for the first time in years, the world did not feel so heavy. Lily walked out of Hawthorne Tower with the folder pressed against her chest, the late afternoon sun warming her face. She stepped onto the sidewalk slowly, as if the world outside demanded a different version of her than the one who had entered the building that morning. She inhaled the crisp air and let it settle her racing thoughts. That night, she sat at her small kitchen table long after her mother had gone to bed. She spread her transcripts, old recommendation letters, and the dean's note in front of her. The pages looked worn, familiar, and yet entirely new. She traced the edge of one letter with her fingertip, remembering the professor who had once told her she had the sharpest legal instincts in her class. She whispered to herself, "Maybe I was not wrong to dream." The next morning, Lily returned to her delivery route with a strange feeling in her chest. Not fear, not anxiety, but a quiet energy she had not felt since her early days in school. She finished her deliveries faster than usual, her mind replaying Ethan's words over and over. By noon, she found herself standing once again in front of Hawthorne Tower. She did not remember deciding to come, but her feet had brought her there anyway. Inside, the security guard nodded respectfully. "Good morning, Miss Carter. Mr. Hawthorne is expecting you." Lily swallowed, steadying herself as she stepped into the elevator. When the doors opened on the 32nd floor, Ethan was already there, looking as if he had been waiting since sunrise. He smiled when he saw her. "You came back," he said. "I did," Lily replied quietly. "And I have thought about everything." Ethan nodded. "And?" She took a breath, feeling her heart thud once. "I want to return to school. I want to finish what I started. I want my life back." A soft relief washed over Ethan's face. "Then you will have it. But," Lily added, lifting her chin slightly, "I want to work for it. I do not want to feel like I was handed something I did not earn." Ethan nodded with full respect. "Then we will build a path that honors your work. You will start part-time here. You will assist my legal team with research while you enroll in classes. We will adjust your hours around your schedule. No shortcuts, no special treatment, only opportunity." Lily's shoulders eased, and for the first time, the future did not feel impossible. Ethan held out a simple white envelope. "Your formal offer." Her fingers trembled as she opened it. The offer detailed part-time legal assistant work, full academic sponsorship, and a flexible schedule built around her studies. She read every line twice before looking up. "This is real," she whispered. "It is as real as your potential," Ethan said. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not look away. She let them fall, not out of sadness but out of release, years of struggle pouring out in quiet relief. Ethan stepped closer, his voice low and sincere. "Lily, you walked into this building as someone who believed her dreams had expired. But dreams do not expire. They wait." She let out a shaky laugh. "You sound very sure." "I am sure of you," Ethan replied. Lily lifted her hand and shook his, sealing the offer. His grip was warm, steady, grounding. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them. Trust, recognition, the beginning of something deeper than either of them expected. Over the next months, Lily returned to school with unwavering determination. She worked part-time at Hawthorne Tower, quickly becoming known among the staff as the quiet researcher who solved problems before they even formed. Ethan watched her growth with pride that he never verbalized, but everyone could see. One evening, after she had submitted her final paper of the semester, Ethan found her in the conference room reviewing a case file. She looked up when he entered, smiling softly. "You look different," Ethan said. "Better or worse?" she asked, amused. "Stronger," he replied. "The way you were always meant to be." The room fell quiet, filled with something warm and undeniable. Lily closed the file, stepping closer. "I would not be here without you," she said. "And I would not be the man I am becoming without you," Ethan answered. Their eyes held, and the distance between them slowly dissolved. What began as an act of justice had grown into something neither of them had planned, something genuine, something earned. When Lily finally reached for his hand, Ethan met her halfway, the moment simple but profound. It was not rescue anymore. It was partnership. It was love built on respect, compassion, and the belief that the right person can change the course of a life, not by saving it, but by seeing its worth. And together, they stepped toward a future that both of them had once believed was out of reach.